It's the Real Estate Show. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. My name is Rick Naples. Well, you're looking to buy a house. So on this show, I want to talk directly to you, the potential buyer looking to buy a house. It's a big endeavor. There are a lot of decisions that you're going to make before you finally are able to settle into the home you choose to purchase. Lots of different things to go through. I mean, how do you prepare? Where do you look? Do you hire a realtor? Do you not hire a realtor? Do you buy from somebody directly? What about foreclosures, short sales? How do you apply for a mortgage? Do you qualify for a mortgage? And if all that's done and you do find the home you want to purchase, now what? What home inspector do you use? What about lead, mold, crumbling foundations? Just so much involved when you decide to become a buyer and purchase a home. So we're going to take a look at all of that. But first, let's take a moment and relax and look at this short presentation, and I'll be back right after. So much to do when you're looking to purchase a home. And I always say, as a realtor, when I'm working with a buyer, preparation is key. The more prepared you are, the easier the process seems to go through. Now, I have a little secret that I share with a lot of my buyers, and I call that the shoebox. Now, the shoebox, for those of you that are my age or older, you remember when you bought shoes, and even today when you bought shoes, they came in a box. And before computers and creating files and having places to store information, you would use the shoebox to put all of your credit card statements or bills that needed to be paid or anything financial that you needed to get at right there. So it was handy. It was all in one place. So I say to buyers, when you're getting ready to go out and look or to purchase a home, put together the so-called shoebox. Have all your information together. Because one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to contact a mortgage company or a mortgage broker to see if you qualify for a mortgage and how much of a mortgage you qualify for. And they're going to ask you a whole bunch of financial as well as credit questions. So it's good to have all that stuff handy in one place so you can make their job easier and make your experience a little more pleasant by having all that stuff available. It's also good to keep everything in a certain gathering so that you can get at it quickly, because as the process goes along, you may need to update certain information. So it's good to have all that stuff handy and there to do. Once you've gone through the mortgage process of finding out what you qualify for a mortgage, you're going to begin, and you may have already began, starting to look for a home. Now, there are a lot of websites that are out there. A lot of buyers start their search on the internet. All the different real estate agencies have their own websites where they post their own homes for sale, the homes they have listed, that is. Plus, they also reach into other websites to pull those homes that are for sale. There are even a couple of national websites that are out there which pull all the homes that are for sale so that you can use their search tools to target a particular town or price range to see what's available. There's also the ability to talk or hire a realtor. Realtors are in the business of buying and selling homes. They do it every single day, and they do it more times than a particular individual might in their lifetime that's not in the business. And their guidance can be something that's very important for you, especially if you're the first time buyer and you've never gone through the process before. And as I've said on other real estate shows, when you do get into the process of purchasing a home, everybody has advice to give to you. And some of that advice is good, bad, or ugly. It's advice that you can take for what it is. Some of it you just basically just smile and say, yes, I know, or I don't know if that's true. But you have to navigate through all those different types of things that come at you. But you want to stay focused. And one of the ways of doing that, as I said, is being prepared. Now let's talk about realtors. There are a number of different realtors that are out there. At the last count or number that I saw, our association here in the state has close to 16,000 licensed realtors that are members. 16,000 realtors. Now that doesn't even count the number of people out there that have real estate licenses that are not realtors. I get asked all the time, what's the difference between a realtor and someone who has a real estate license? Very simply, someone who calls themselves a realtor or uses the licensed and trademarked name of realtor, they are a member of the National Association of Realtors. They are someone that has signed an agreement to follow the National Association of Realtors code of ethics in the way they conduct themselves and the way they do their business. So I always consider them one step above someone who just has a real estate license. They have a guideline that they follow and that they adhere to maintain their reputation as well as work with you, the buyer. When you pick a realtor, you're going to pick somebody that is very comfortable to work with. This is going to be a person that either you know from your social contacts, someone that's been referred to you, or someone you may have found through somebody else, either by searching social media or you saw them on a website and you liked what they had to say about their experience and background. But this is a person that you're actually going to work very closely with over the next, say, 30 to 45 days or longer while you're searching for a home. So you want to pick very carefully. And like I always say, you like to do business with somebody that you trust, someone that you're comfortable with. You want to make sure that the realtor that you pick is someone that's going to put your buying needs first, as opposed to their wanting to make a commission when they sell a home. I've said in some of the seminars that I've done and some of the teaching that I've done as a realtor to fellow realtors that realtors are not necessarily salespeople. We don't sell homes, we find homes. We always put your need as the buyer first and listen to what you need and what you're looking to accomplish and try to help you meet that goal. Now, once you've gone through all that process of now getting a mortgage qualification, now finding a realtor that you're comfortable with working with, and you're going out and looking at houses, it could become very overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff out there. There are a lot of homes on the market. You have homes that sellers have listed with realtors and that are on the listing sites. You have homes that banks have foreclosed on. You have homes that people, maybe a seller has decided not to work with a realtor because they don't want to pay the commission, and they want to sell the home directly to a buyer. And there are other opportunities. There are auction sites that are out there. There's the HUD site for HUD homes, which are foreclosed homes by the Housing and Urban Development Agency. There's just a ton of stuff out there, and you need to navigate through it. What you want to try to do is you want to try to stay focused, and this is why it's so important to be prepared. You want to do what I call a wants and needs list. This is something that is a great thing for a buyer to do. Take a piece of paper and basically write down all the things that you're looking for in a home, and then write down all the things you actually need in a home. Now, I've gone through this exercise a number of times in what I call the buyer interview. This is an opportunity where I, as a realtor, will invite somebody that I'm going to work with or wants to work with me as a buyer, and we'll sit in my office and we'll discuss what they're looking for in a home. And the typical conversation comes up of, location of where the home is, maybe the school system for their kids or amenities, the town they want to live in for commuting reasons, what they'd like to have in the house as far as number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. Perhaps they have a need for a big yard because they have the dogs and they want the dogs to be able to run, or whatever those particular things might be. And then there's the kind of, I call them the fluff items. It would be great if we could find a home that has a huge deck with a jacuzzi, or it would be great to find a home with an in-ground swimming pool, or perhaps they're looking for a home that has an amenity that's something very special, like maybe a wine room, or a finished basement as opposed to an unfinished basement. Or maybe the need is a 2-car garage rather than a single-car garage, or attic space. All those kinds of things. And when you're doing your wants and your needs list, you also decide, or I try to decide with my buyers when I'm working with them, what those things are that are absolute musts and what those things are that are flexible, things that you could do without. I mean, if you find a home that fits most of all of your wants and it's within your price range, but it doesn't have this, is that home a possibility that you might want to make an offer on? And so on and so forth. Let's take a quick break and look at this little presentation, and we'll be back with some more of my thoughts for you, the buyer, especially the first-time buyer, when you're looking to purchase a home. talking to you potential buyers out there. I'm standing here in a typical living room. This happens to be the living room at my home, and hopefully you're not too distracted by the fish. I do like to play the fish DVD on my television set. So for some of you, you've met my cat Bella. She kind of likes to stare at it, watch the fish zoom back and forth. So hopefully you don't find that too distracting. But I'm talking to you buyers out there. Let's talk about the type of homes that are out there. Now I don't mean homes like Cape Cods, ranches, colonials, and the contemporaries, and the many different styles of homes that are out there. You'll know as you go out and see homes what type of layout feels comfortable for you to live in. What I want to talk about is the homes that are for sale. For instance, homes that get listed by realtors and homes that may be out there because of a foreclosure sale or an auction sale. Again, going back to what I keep saying, preparation is key. You need to be prepared for the type of home you're looking to purchase at. I was given some advice many years ago by my father, as a matter of fact, who said to me, when you're looking to purchase a home, you have to look at not only what the mortgage payment, principal and interest is going to be, but what all the additional costs are going to be in owning that home. One of the very first mistakes that buyers make is they get qualified for a mortgage and then they forget about all the other stuff. I mean, there's homeowners insurance that you have to have. There are other types of expenses with the home. Perhaps you're buying an older home that's going to need some updates. There's the general upkeep of the home when you're living there. The fuel costs to heat it or cool it. The repair costs to keep everything in repair, and so on and so forth. Dad used to always say, take your mortgage payment and double it. If you can afford twice of what the mortgage payment is, you should be okay. I don't know if that rule of thumb applies in today's markets, but it is pretty good advice. So thank you, Dad, for that. My father was a realtor for a number of years, as I have been. So I kind of take the advice that I got from him for what it is. But looking at the different types of homes out there, I'm approached as a realtor a lot of times, and I'm asked the question by a first-time buyer, if I purchase or want to purchase, let's say, a foreclosure, is that better than buying a home that a seller's looking to sell? Well, you have to kind of weigh it. It depends on how much of a stomach you have for buying the house. Foreclosures usually are homes that have been forgotten about. Not necessarily abandoned, but these are homes where a seller lived there for one reason or another. There was a change in their life. They couldn't afford to make the mortgage payments anymore, and the bank has stepped in and taken the title or foreclosed on the home. And now the home is sitting there vacant. As it's sitting there vacant, it probably does not have the upkeep that home ownership pride of somebody actually living in the home would normally have. So sometimes you find these foreclosures, it may be a good buy as far as the pricing compared to the rest of the market, but it may need a little bit of help financially as far as updates and things to fix. And not all banks are going to offer to fix things. They're going to sell the home as is. So you kind of got to be aware of that. If you're looking to purchase a home to get your hands on because that's what you want to do, you want to buy a home low and make it your own and do the repairs and do the updates, then maybe a foreclosure route is the route you need to go. One of the other things that's out there is something that's called the short sale. Short sales are pre-foreclosures. My only advice to a buyer is you usually can make a very good offer or get a good opportunity to buy a home that's being short saled. In other words, the bank will consider an offer lower than what the seller owes as far as a mortgage on the home. Thus, the house is usually priced under market a little bit. But you have to remember that in the case of a short sale, a bank is looking at taking a rather large loss on that home. So they're not going to decide right away that the offer is acceptable or not. If you do go for something and it is a short sale, you may eventually get a good buy, but you may find yourself waiting quite a long time to get a decision on whether or not your offer is going to be accepted. And while all that time is passing, the present owner is still living in the house, and the house may also continue going through disrepair or challenges as the seller is being prepared to be moved out of the house and the buyer would be taking it over. Average short sales, I hear things all over the board. I hear some banks are quicker. You may have an answer in 90 to 120 days. I've experienced myself where it's taken over a year to get an answer from a bank. So if you're a first-time buyer and you're in a situation where you're not in a hurry to get into a home, a short sale or perhaps a foreclosure might be a route to go. Now, at the risk of getting all the for sale by owners out there, these are people that are looking to sell their home directly to a buyer without going through a real estate agency or a listing agency. For sale by owner purchases can be good purchases, but you have to keep in mind that the seller is looking to sell their home without paying a realtor a commission. The problem with that, in my view, and again, I'm a realtor, so of course I'm prejudiced in the way that I look at things, but the problem with that is the for sale by owner may not be aware of the different laws and regulations that are required when you're selling a home. And because they don't have a realtor guiding them through the process, they may intentionally or not intentionally overlook something they need to do, like the property condition disclosure report or a lead disclosure. I've heard stories from realtors where people have purchased a for sale by owner, thought they got a great deal, and then after they moved into the house discovered all kinds of problems that weren't disclosed to them. And when they've talked to an attorney to see if there's any recourse against that seller, they've hit a dead end because it's buyer beware. You get what you buy. When you go through a realtor that's listed a home, at least you know that the realtor, the listing agency, has taken the responsibility of working with that seller to make sure that there's full disclosure of any issues there might be with the home, and that those disclosures are readily available to you, the buyer, to take a look at. This is the part of the real estate show that I call the real estate mailbag. It's my opportunity to address questions that are asked to me via our email address, asked to me by fellow realtors, or asked to me by potential clients, past, present, or even those folks that we have conversations when they see me out on the streets. The email that came in was all about picking a realtor. My advice always is interview one or two different realtors. I mean, after all, this individual that you're going to be working with is not only a licensed realtor that may adhere to the code of ethics, but they also have to be a person that you feel comfortable with in making the purchase of the largest item you may buy in your lifetime. My name is Rick Naples, and this has been The Real Estate Show. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.